Greg Small and Erica Harriman Camarota are the officials. The Cyclones with the opening tap, and we are underway in this, the 59th meeting of this outstanding rivalry. Madison Wise hands it from the outside. The Bulldogs in what they always play defensively, and that's a 2-3 matchup zone, which is not an easy defense to prepare for.
No, it is difficult, and they're going to show different looks out of that 2-3 zone. This Iowa State offense is going to make them extend a little bit more than what they normally do.
Nezuquah off the baseline to score. Inez, who averages 4.5 points a game, scores first in this one.
Nezuquah just stepped out to the short corner there, was able to get the handle on the basketball and knock down the first bucket of the ball game.
Cyclones will show you a variety of defenses as Rennie Rose steps to the top and knocks down. She hit 14 of them last year and shooting with great confidence this year.
She is shooting with more confidence this year, and they need her to score. They need a third scorer to step up. They've got Ryan and Hittner. You've got to have a third scorer in that lineup.
Nezuquah spins inside of Ryan and scores, and she has back-to-back Iowa State to open things this afternoon.
Did a good job of getting Ryan in the air, and they're going to go right back to Ryan. And all of a sudden, we talk about a game that's shooting. We're seeing it established in the paint early on.
Bulldogs opened with a Friday night victory over South Dakota State, 74-67 in that game. Ryan, 25 points, 7 rebounds, and a couple of blocks.
Out and challenge Johnson as she brings the ball up the floor. Let's look at what's going on down low inside. And Sarah Ryan doing a good job getting Nezuquah on her backside, calling for that ball.
Ray Johnson, who, as she brought the ball up, was greeted by Maddie Monahan, her AAU high school teammate. So they are well familiar with each other's games. Ray Johnson steps outside, and she had only 13 of them last year, but is shooting with a lot more confidence. In fact, Bill Finley said coming off her best week of basketball at Iowa State, starting with practice on Monday.
Well, and he said she's, a better shooter than what her numbers are showing right now. And as she continues to play and get more confidence, that shooting's going to come around for her.
Didn't take long for Jenny Baranchek to go to her bench, as Hannah Fuller is an early entry into the Bulldog lineup, and the foul is called against Adriana Camber. Bill Finley on the bench for the Cyclones in his 32nd year of head coach, 25th year at Iowa State. What an outstanding record. He has 320 and 198 at Iowa State. Rose looking for 2 in a row for the Bulldogs to get things started, and the rebound knocked out of bounds by Iowa State.
And Hannah Fuller right there in the mix as you have 2 Cyclones going after that basketball. Hannah Fuller in there mixing things up, able to knock it off one of the players, Cyclone players, and keep it in the Bulldog possession.
Allie Woldridge and Monica Burrich on the floor for the Bulldogs, so Jenny Baranchek, barely 2 minutes into the game, has already gone to her bench 3 times.
Bulldogs trying to get a little more size in there to see if they can continue to pound it into the paint.
Shot clock is at 6. Hittner having trouble handling onto the basketball with some good defense.
And we've seen early on in this season, we saw it on Friday night for the Bulldogs against South Dakota State, and here in this ballgame, they're going to guard Hittner very, very tight. They're going to try to make her put it on the floor. We know how good of a shooter she is when she can catch and release. They're going to challenge her to put it on the floor and try to create.
Ray Johnson looks in for Iowa State, and as she tries to make a move, foul called on the Bulldogs.
Monahan getting out, trying to play very tough defense on Johnson. Overplaying a little bit. Johnson uses that off arm. Monahan charge. The officials see it the other way.
Johnson triggers into Madison Wise, a junior from Greenfield, Indiana, who goes to the lane and travels. First turnover against the Cyclones, also committed 1, and here comes Drake. Collier cuts across the lane. Burrich comes on top to take the pass. Collier for 3. In and out. The offensive rebound taken down by Monica Burrich.
And that's something the Bulldogs need to continue to do. Just be very strong on the boards at both ends.
Fuller tries to slip the pass. Hittner, but it's batted away, and Iowa State, leading at 7-5, comes up the floor.
Active hands for the Cyclones, getting the hands out in the passing lane, deflecting that ball.
Camber finds Nezuquah on the corner. Wise down the lane will be called for an offensive foul.
They came with the double team on Mezaqua, and she saw Wise cutting down the lane. Monica Burrich rotates over to get into position, reading it right away, gets the feet set, and is able to draw the charge.
Brittany Rose back onto the floor for the Bulldogs, and for Bill Finley's Maggie Espen-Miller-McGraw, who played her high school ball at Indianola and Southeast Polk, a freshman, onto the floor for Iowa State.
Both coaches going to the bench early, just trying to find some lineup that's going to start flowing and see if they can get into a rhythm and try to get some separation.
Rose misses zone, and Jones runs it down. A collision between Johnson and Collier, and it's called against Johnson.
That was kind of a gutsy move on Collier's part. She already picked up the one foul early on and tried to get over and cut off Ray Johnson. They let the contact happen, and the ball goes out of bounds.
Collier finds Hannah Fuller as the Bulldogs face the defense of Iowa State. Rose whips it inside for Collier, and on the left-hander, connects off the glass.
And that's kind of the versatility we talked about with both of these teams. You have players that can shoot from the outside, and they can also go in and post up. That time Collier takes Johnson down low, and they slip her a pass.
Kristen Scott onto the floor for Iowa State. Her playing time somewhat limited because of the back spasm she has endured. However, Bill Finley says she is our best player.
Yeah, I think they need to have her on the floor. She kind of makes things go for them, and a quiet leader out there, and they like to have her versatility on the floor as well. 6'3"
sophomore, averaged 7 rebounds and 13 points last season. Offensive foul this time called against Drake, and it is whistled against Allie Woolridge.
Well, both these defenses realize that you're going to get the dribble penetration, and you get the rotation over, you can plant the feet. And a good look there as Johnson recognized what was happening, slides back over and gets into position.
Ray Johnson, a junior, has not started a lot of games. Her start against Southern University was just her 5th start, but she is really, and Kristen Scott knocks it down from the corner.
And that's why they like to have her in the lineup. They know that she can post up and that she can shoot it from the outside. Sarah Ryan now is going to pick up a foul on the inside.
Ryan with her first, the Bulldogs with their 4th. 4:47 left to play in the opening 95.
Wow, that is impressive.
Ray Johnson brings it ahead for Iowa State to get things started. Cyclones open the season Thursday with an 87-54 victory over Southern. Both teams shooting well early. Cyclones 4 out of 6, Bulldogs 3 out of 6. Scott on the baseline, shovels underneath for Espen-Miller-McGraw, and she will go to the line.
You could see how the Iowa State offense had spread out the defense for the Bulldogs. That creates lanes for players to cut through, and that's what Miller-McGraw did as she slides down the lane, and Brittany Rose right there to stop the bucket.
Espen-Miller-McGraw was really motivated by Naz Mitru-Long, the Cyclone men's player of recent days, who decided to honor his mother by using her name in his name, and now she's gone to the same with her mother, who raised her actually as a single parent after her parents were divorced early. Well, now it's Maggie Espen-Miller-McGraw.
Now we're going to get Brittany Rose with a little push-off after the free throw. And that's going to be 2 quick fouls on Brittany Rose.
And one big difference, I think, between the Bulldogs, well, I don't think, I know this, between the Bulldogs of this year and depth off the bench is not the same.
Right, and that's something that I think they're going to have to work through as they get Brittany Rose now with the 2 fouls on the bench.
Espen-Miller-McGraw right back to the line. Played for the state champions at Southeast Polk last year. Averaged almost 20 points and 6 rebounds a game, 4 assists a game. That after an outstanding career at Indianola with Grace Berg, who remains on the Bulldog bench.
Still working through the NCAA, trying to see if they can get her eligible here early in the non-conference. If that waiver does not come through, then Grace Berg would be able to play once the conference season starts, as she transferred in mid-season last year from Missouri.
Maddie Monahan. Ball.
Monahan needs to continue to look to score, and they're going to try to get her the ball. She's got to have the confidence to go ahead and pull the trigger when she has the opening. She's a very good shooter. She works very hard on it, and she needs to continue. But Espen Miller-McGraw coming off the bench, having a good start to this ball game.
4 at the line. Add those 3, 7 points. First quarter for her, which has 3:30 remaining in it. Monahan looks in against Espen Miller-McGraw. Monahan looking for 2 in a row from the 3-point line. Hittner fights for the rebound but can't control it and runs it down. And the Bulldogs yet to get a shot from Hittner. At the other end, Johnson on the miss, and Hittner wraps up the. You know that they want to get her in the scoring flow quickly.
Yeah, they have to look to try to get her the ball and try to get it to her in spots where she can score or create. Monahan doing a great job of pushing tempo and taking it right at the Cyclone defense. Looking to see if anybody is there that she can takes it right at Espen Miller-McGraw.
So fouls in the act of shooting. Maddie Monahan, the junior from Silver Lake, Minnesota, will go to the line. 7 points in the Bulldogs opener on Friday against South Dakota State. Last year averaged a little under 5 points a ball game, but again, Jenny Baranczyk thinks she can really become an offensive factor.
Yeah, and they need her to. A couple of years she has played at that point guard position, brought the ball down, helped set her teammates up. Now they need her at that off guard position, and they need her to score.
Nezaqual looks for some help. Jones hands it to Espen Miller-McGraw. Nice move underneath by Wise to get open. The pass was there, the shot was not, and Ryan rebound. Ryan, who led the Bulldogs with over 8 rebounds a game a season ago, comes up with a carom. Hittner, first shot of the afternoon, in and out, and into the hand.
But they got her a shot where they wanted to get her open, and she just had tough shooting luck.
Good pass inside by Jay Thurman, who had just come into the ball game, and Nezaqual with her third first quarter basket.
She's in the right spot at the right time, and I think Nezaqual is going to pick up the foul. She was trying to fight through a screen that Hittner had set right at the free throw line.
Almost, there was quite a tussle at the top of the circle.
And everybody had their attention on Thurman, seeing as she drives the baseline, Nezaqual, and she did a great job of filling the middle of the lane.
Thurman, a senior from Lancaster, Texas, went to Kilgore Community College in Texas her first 2 years. Nice speed inside. The Bulldogs really working on those out-of-bounds plays that Jenny Brown especially pleased with on Friday night, but she had to like that one.
Said that they were not as good as they could have been on baseline out-of-bounds plays, not only offensively but defensively. And, they were able to get the quick score, but Cyclones answered quickly on their end.
They continue their hot shooting, as that time it's Thurman knocking down the shot. Minute 47 left to play in an action-packed first quarter.
And probably at the pace where Coach Finley would like to have it. He said he would like to play in the 80s and try to be able to beat the Bulldogs. And right now they're pretty much on track to do that.
Aggie Bear, freshman from Glen Ellen, Illinois, into the Drake lineup. She wears number 42. Ryan looking for a third basket and gets it. 2s and a 3 for Sarah Ryan in the first quarter.
Nezaqual, I think, kind of forgot about Ryan, and knowing that she had that ability to shoot the 3, just kind of sagged in and realized that all of a sudden she was out there, she had the ball, had to hustle out, but Sarah Ryan able to knock it down.
Johnson and Thurman along the back line for the Cyclones. Johnson makes the catch in the middle of the lane and puts it through. Pass from Canebeer.
Cyclones are doing a good job of getting right in the middle of that zone and finding open shots.
Ryan for 3. It rolls in.
Contested. Nezaqual knew where she was, but Ryan with the hot hand from long distance dials it up.
And after trailing by 9, the Bulldogs are back to within 4. The ball kicked out of bounds by Bear. Drake will play it with 40.7 seconds left in the first quarter. Maggie Nygaard comes in along with Allie Woolridge. Both are sophomores. Somewhat limited playing time last year, but figured to get a lot more this year. Nezaquah looking for her 4th basket of the first quarter. Not this time, and wrong rebound. Her 2nd rebound. Over the zone, the skip pass comes to Woolridge. Again, the good look for Ryan. It was deflected by Steele, a player that Bill Fenley thinks could be the possible X factor for his squad this year.
Well, she's got the quickness. We've seen the explosiveness so far here in this first quarter. She's been able to blow by some of the defenders. Saw the quick hands there defensively.
Final seconds of the quarter. Ray Johnson may not recognize that. I'm not sure she did, but the ball was deflected from her. Couldn't have gotten a shot off anyway. First quarter.
In a game like this, you have some jitters and nerves to start. I think both of these teams were keyed up and ready to go, and the way they're shooting it, I think shows that how ready they were for this ball game and how competitive it's going to be.
Ryan, who's had the hot hand, looks at the outside, nothing going knee guard. There, Bear also, we mentioned Ryan, Woolridge, and Monahan on the floor for the Bulldogs right now. Shot clock is at 7.
Iowa State switched to a zone.
And got called for an offensive foul.
The shot clock was winding. Bear's going to pick that foul up. Shot clock went under 10 seconds. They were trying to find an opening in that 2-3. So that's where Coach Finley made a change at the end of the quarter, switching to the 2-3 zone.
Camber misses the shot, and Monahan brings it ahead for the Bulldogs. Cyclones with an early 8-point lead. Bulldogs' only lead has been a single point. Deflected by Jones, and so Drake will play it with Maggie Nygaard, sophomore from Stevens Point, Wisconsin, to inbound. Woolridge to the basket. A little too hard, and Maddie was there for the rebound for Iowa State.
Tried to step through 2 defenders, didn't quite have the right angle to get to the glass.
Jones with a good move, but well defended by Bear.
Bear did a good job, and that's a tough assignment, having to go up against Ashley Jones, who is so strong down low.
Monahan, good look for Nygaard. She will go to the line with a foul called against Jones.
And against this zone of the Cyclones, the Bulldogs are going to have to do a really good job of passing, try to get them to shift and find the gaps in the zone. Monahan finds it with the diagonal pass down to Nygaard.
They're back onto the court for the Bulldogs. As you mentioned at the outset of our telecast, led the Valley in scoring the last 2 years, but got just 1 shot in the first quarter.
Iowa State doing a really nice job, and I think teams are going to play Hittner pretty physical this year. She's going to have to learn how to try to create and how to get herself open so she can continue to score for the Bulldogs.
Drake just 1 of 3 from the free throw line to get things started tonight. Last year, the Bulldogs were an outstanding free throw shooting team. As a team, shot 76%. Johnson, Espiniller-McGraw on the floor. Shot from outside.
Madison Wise a year ago, 10 points against the Bulldog up at Hilton Coliseum, and finding the opening, the rotation defensively did not come, and she was left wide open at the top of the key.
Hittner still well guarded by Iowa State, and there's the steal in the pass against the zone. Wise comes up with the interception. Feeds Johnson, who misses the layup. It's there for the rebound for the Bulldogs.
Woolridge hustled down and did a nice job of getting back defensively to block that shot.
Woolridge takes it right to the basket and draws the foul.
As she slashes to the basket, just not getting those shoulders turned to get the good angle to get it off the glass. Contact this time. She's doing a nice job of attacking the defense from that level.
Nezaquah with her 2nd foul. Allie Woolridge averaged less than 10 points a game last year. This year, played 21 minutes in the opener against South Dakota State. And Jenny Baranchek says she was really dedicated in the summer, and it's made a big difference. And she's going to see a lot more playing time.
Did a nice job, kind of sectionalized plan for herself of the things she needs to work on and what she needs to do to get better, and really focused in on that over the summer. And you can tell that she is pretty confident in the way she's playing on the floor.
Inside comes Kristen Scott. And there for the rebound with good position is Hittner. Deep three for Hittner. Tries to run down her own rebound, but Scott steps in front of her. And then she travels with it, and the ball goes back to the Bulldogs. Iowa State guilty of their 5th turnover. The Bulldogs have committed 7 thus far.
You know, and that's something that Bulldogs turned the ball over against South Dakota State on Friday night. They're going to need to shore that up. They like to play at a high tempo, but sometimes they turn it over. They need to take care of those miscues.
Sarah Beth Geldner sees her first action of the night, takes the shot right away off the bench. Miss Johnson's there for the rebound.
You know, you're going up against a zone, so why not get some of your three-point shooters in there? And that's what Coach Baranczyk has done by getting Geldner in there.
Wise tries to get around Hittner, picked up by Burich, but misfires on the shot. Settling for the rebound, but the Bulldogs take it away from her, and here comes Collier for Drake. Hittner again a three. This time she knocks it down.
That's a designed play that you knew that Hittner was trailing the whole play. Stops right at the top of the key. That was a long-range three-pointer by Hittner, and that'll get her going because a lot of times when she knocks one down, she knocks quite a few down in succession.
Drake off to a run to begin this second quarter. Nygaard for three.
Tempo is where the Bulldogs would like to have it now. They're getting out and running, creating, not allowing that defense to get set. And the dribble penetration, kick out for the three.
First, Drake leads since their first basket, a 3-2. Espen Miller tries to answer and can't, and the Bulldogs try to continue this run. All 6 points in the quarter belonging to Drake. Nygaard trying to get around Camber, and the rebound taken by Scott. Scott from Quezon, Minnesota. 15 minutes all she got to play against Southern. As Bill Fenley described it, kind of on a pitch count because of those back spasms. Doesn't get all the minutes, so they will use her sparingly and in spots, but when she's on the floor, the best Cyclone player.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you have her healthy throughout the entire season, and so get her in spurts and then get her some rest, and that's what they've been trying to do.
Cyclones just one of their last 9 from the floor. Off the baseline, the shot knocked down. Scott is really tough inside.
Yeah, doing a good job of flashing to the hoop or to the spot on the lane.
Geldner leaves it just a little bit short. Hannah Fuller tries to run it down, but can't, and it'll be Iowa State basketball. Game tied up for just the second time. Was tied early at 7 and now even at 28. Midway through the second quarter of play. Cyclones being patient against the break, tips it away, and Ryan comes up with a loose basketball. Iowa State has turned it over for the 6th time. Ryan for three. Her third three of the ball game.
They're not going to come out and really contest that shot. She's going to continue to shoot it. You have to go back. You have to credit Monica Burich with the defensive play down on the other end to get the Bulldogs going the other way.
Ryan now 5 for 5. Thurman trying to break down the Bulldogs. Pitches it to Jones, who misses from outside, and Burich is down. Monahan weaves her way down the court and misses the layup, but the putback is there. Exploding. 8 points in the first half and 5 more here in the second half. 15 points for Ryan.
Good aggressive take by Monahan. A little zig and a little zag gets the defense out of position. Couldn't finish it, but Sarah Ryan right there.
And Ryan picks up the foul. Little hook with the arm as she tried to deny Scott a chance to get to the basketball, and Ryan has picked up her second foul. 3:57 left to play in the first half. The Bulls right now enjoying their biggest lead as Maddie leading all scorers in the game. Cyclones not a bad shooting percentage from the three-point line, 4 out of 9, just not as many efforts.
No, they have not been able to get off as many long balls as the Bulldogs. They've been concentrating, trying to hit that mid-range like they did there, going inside and knocking them down. And that's something that they'd like Madison Wise to do more, is need her score at all 3 levels, hit that mid-range jumper, put it on the floor and drive, get to the free throw line. She can also shoot it from beyond the arc as well.
Bulldogs call for the 3-second. And for Drake, it is their 8th turnover of the first half.
A lot of times the Cyclones have 5 out and then they flash 1 in. They're flashing Jones inside, but then they pop her out long range.
The long rebound out of bounds. Drake with a 3-point lead, at 3:21 to go in the first half. Iowa State makes a change. Adriana Camber back onto the floor, and she will take the place of Ray Johnson. Iowa State led early by 8, and the Bulldogs lead of 5 a moment ago. Their biggest lead so far. Kara Collier getting ready to come back in for the Bulldogs. Hittner gets around Wise, goes to the lane, can't finish the shot. Bulldogs battle for the rebound. Baird comes out with it and gets tripped, and Maggie Baird does a fine job fighting for the rebound and picking up a foul against the Cyclones.
Baird doing a good job of just keeping that ball up, tipping it and tipping it. You're going to get a good look at it. Loose ball, everybody going after it. Baird had control of it for a minute and then picks up or draws the foul on Iowa State.
Camber with her 2nd foul. Hittner tries to get around Wise, and Wise called for the blocking foul. And really, when you look at the foul situation, even though it's pretty early, it could become a key factor. Iowa State has 3 different players with 2 fouls.
You can see Wise came out and gave up but then tried to slide over, stuck a hip out, tried to draw the charge, but the official calls the block.
Bulldogs have 2 players with 2 fouls early. They're both significant in Ryan and Rose. Hittner on the fadeaway gets the bounce.
You let Hittner have that down low in the block, and then she had 2 defenders right there in her face, shoots the fadeaway and knocks it down.
By Drake. Cyclones turn it over for the 8th time. An open look for Bear. And the rebound, 5'8", Jade Thurman. Smallest player on the court, but she had great position. Jones on the miss.
As did Wise right there. Was in the right spot at the right time to pull that rebound.
Nice move by Morgan from West Jordan, Utah, who just came into the lineup. First time she touches the ball, she gets 2. Final 2 minutes, first half. Monahan for 3. Kane, a redshirt last year at Iowa State.
Close to being an over and back, but the ball never crossed the line.
Ashley Jones to the base to score around Hittner. Basket, and we talked about Drake wanting to get shots for Hittner. Same story for Iowa State and Jones.
Yeah, they need to get her the basketball, but the Bulldogs have done a nice job of bottling her up.
Collier connects from mid-range, her 2nd bucket. This is the pace we expected, isn't it?
It is absolutely the pace that we expected. We thought it was going to be up and down. Both teams like to run when they can, and both teams like to shoot it when they can.
Thurman tries to go base. Hittner knocks it away from behind. 16 on the shot clock. 1:04 in the first half clock when Iowa State inbounds. Maggie Nygaard in. Hannah Fuller out for the Bulldogs.
Hittner does that so well. If a defender gets by her, she's able to reach in from behind and poke the ball away.
10 seconds for the Cyclones to shoot as we go to the final minute in this first half. Thurman penetrates the lane. The kick for Espen Miller-McGraw, and the rebound. Hittner wheels into the lane, fires and scores, and Becca Hittner now 3 baskets, all in this quarter, their biggest lead.
Thurman got back in position, and Hittner makes a spin move, a little contact. Thurman tries to get the charge on Hittner, no call, and Hittner's able to finish it off.
8-second differential between the shot clock and the first half clock. Collier goes for the block on Wise. and she's going to be whistled for the foul. And Kiera Collier has her second foul. So 3 Bulldogs will go to the locker room with at least 2 fouls.
And that's something that this type of a game that is physical. And here's a look at Hittner getting that loose ball. Thurman looked like she was still moving the feet a little bit.
Madison Wise, a 90% free throw shooter a season ago, 35 out of 39 goes to the line. 3-year starter for Bill Fennelly, and she leaves it short. Season high of 21 came in her freshman year against Oklahoma State, and the 90% ago misfires twice, and the Bulldogs have a chance to take their biggest lead. The shot clock is off, and Drake will play for the final shot of the half.
I'm going to spread the floor, see if they can get something to happen here in the last 10 seconds.
Three seconds. Monahan gets around Thurman, lets fly, and it won't go. And so an action-packed first half. Wise inbounds to Ray Johnson to get the second half underway. Both teams 1-0 to start the year. Drake with a 74-67 victory over South Dakota State, and Iowa State with an 87-54 win over Southern University. Johnson in the middle, spins into the lane. Collier's on her. Johnson puts the shot in, and Ray Johnson points to start the evening. Rennie Rose with those 2 early fouls back in, both teams with their starters. Ball goes to Rose, and she scores. On a 3 early in the contest, now has 5 points, and Drake back to a 5-point lead.
Just a nice little give and go and a little diagonal cut. What a great catch, a good pass, and she's able to finish at the rim.
Johnson at the point directing the offense. There was a question maybe at the start of the year who would be the point guard, and it may be by committee as Jones misfires. Hittner battles Scott for the rebound. So I take back what I said about the same starters in, because Kristen Scott is getting a start here in the second half for Iowa State.
Liked what they saw out of her in the first half, and she probably told Coach Fennelly that she feels pretty good. Let her go and see what she can do.
Meanwhile, Nezaquah on the bench because she got those 2 fouls, and they want to prevent her from getting a third early in the second half. Camber on the miss, rebound. Collier into the lane outside. Rind has been red hot. Her first miss of the half. Johnson with the rebound.
And I think Iowa State's going to be cautious about how they go out and defend her at the 3-point line.
Wise misses a 3 and hit. 5 rebounds now for Becca Hittner. The kick for Rose. Wants to take it to the rack, and as she does, she is called for the charge. Offensive foul on Rose. That'll be her third foul.
Her third. Picks one up very quickly here to start the third quarter. She gets the kick back from Collier, drives the lane, and Johnson slides over, and they call.
Immediately replaced by Allie Woolridge. Monahan trying to interfere with her former AAU teammate, Ray Johnson.
Several guards for the Bulldogs have really been trying to get up and harass Johnson as she brings the ball down the floor. I think got a little banged up there on that collision, comes out of the ball game.
Espen Miller-McGraw comes in to take her place. She had a good first half. That pass is long for Kristen Scott, and it'll be Drake basketball. Bulldogs try to take their biggest game. In the lane comes Hittner. Spins, fires, and scores. And Becca Hittner, who did not score, now has 9 in the game.
Had to fight her way through a couple of defenders over the top of a screen. Made a nice move and a good answer on the Cyclones end by Espen Miller-McGraw.
And she's done an outstanding job. Got 7 in the first quarter, a total of 9 for her now. Monahan looks for 3.
And you can't pay too much attention to Becca Hittner. If your eyes go away from your area that you're guarding, you're going to lose sight of who slides into it. Monahan comes in right to the top of the key. Espen Miller-McGraw kind of lost sight of her. Couldn't get over quick enough to get a hand in the face.
Jones to the rack, inside Ryan. Ryan there for the rebound. Sarah Ryan with the rebound, and then the foul called on Jones. And Jones with her second foul. Drake changes. Hittner and Collier leave. Burrich and Fuller come in.
Good look at Hittner looking, trying to direct traffic, and then Monahan comes in and fills in the open spot behind her.
Drake enjoying their biggest lead, tries to build it to double digits as Monahan and Woolridge bring it ahead. Monahan open again, knocks it down again.
Second time in 2 possessions. Iowa State's going to have to make an adjustment defensively. And Coach Finley, 5 and 2 of 3 from 3-point range.
On a 10-2 run, about outscored the Cyclones 10-4 in the quarter. Jones takes Ryan inside, moves around her. Ryan defensively handles it, and Fuller loose basketball. Burrich on top. She hits it. And suddenly the Bulldogs on fire from behind the 3-point line. I say they are this quarter, but they really started in the second quarter.
Well, they're rotating the ball around, and the defense for Iowa State is sagging down. They're not paying attention. And you don't think of Monica Burrich as a 3-point shooter, but you have to pay attention because everybody for the Bulldogs can shoot the 3.
Espen Miller-McGraw on the miss for Iowa State. There to scoop up the basketball is Ryan. Drake has the numbers momentarily. Now Woolridge tries to move inside against Espen Miller-McGraw, and she travels. Iowa State started the ball game by 3 3-point shots. Since then, they are 1 out of 13.
And that's not like Iowa State because they are a team that prides themselves on their 3-point shooting. They all can shoot it from distance and just have not been able to find the mark here in this ball game.
So they're 4 of 15 for the game behind the 3-point line, while the Bulldogs are 9 out of 22. So the Cyclones go in to connect.
Yeah, Ashley Jones misses the shot, but 3 players going after that loose ball, tipping up and in for the Iowa State Cyclones. Sarah Ryan gets the answer down low for the Bulldogs.
Drake extending the lead to 14. Fuller challenging Jones and gets the foul. Hannah Fuller a bit incredulous at the call by Greg Small.
Well, there was some contact early on, and Hannah Fuller was challenging Johnson. There was a little bit of contact, and then they back off. They start at it again. Hannah Fuller reaches in and picks up that little.
The college basketball season, very busy time.
Very busy and a lot of things going on. It's kind of fun to be able to turn on the TV and watch all kinds of different sports happening.
Ray Johnson trying to break down the Bulldog zone. They try to get the ball inside to Kristen Scott, but Burrich, who's really playing an outstanding game for Drake this afternoon, comes up with a swipe.
She has done a good job of coming in off the bench and providing a nice spark. And so has that young lady taking down some shots. Maggie Nygaard coming in off the bench to knock down a bucket for the Bulldogs, and that's just what she needs for her confidence.
Bulldogs suddenly a string of knocking down threes. They are 4 of their last 5 3-point shots and had their biggest lead. Kristen Scott inside scored. Talented player really being limited by back spasms. Was second team All Big 12 last year in her freshman year and preseason All Big 12.
Did a nice job, and she's doing a good job of posting up down there. They worked a nice little mid-high low game that time between her and Camber.
Bulldogs just red hot behind the arc. That opens the inside game for Hittner. Burrich grabs yet another rebound. Hittner will try a 3. And Jones runs down the rebound, and the Bulldogs quickly come. 3.5 to go, third quarter. Drake with their biggest lead. And off the ball. Bulldogs guilty of a foul. Monica Burrich on the foul.
Burrich on the high side, trying to get position on Scott. Just got a little too aggressive in the block.
Burrich has come up with 5 rebounds this afternoon and hit a 3. She only hit 4 of them all of last season, only tried 14 times. So there isn't a Bulldog who can't shoot a 3, and that makes them dangerous. And the Cyclones, similar situation, but they're not falling today. Jones goes down the lane.
Nygaard tries to go for the quick steal, and Ashley Jones able to pull that pass out of the air and take it in, pull up with the jumper.
Iowa State back into the man defense. Is Burrich connects from outside.
Again, I think Nezaquav kind of got picked off on a screen or a rub as Nygaard was cutting through the lane. That opened her up. Ashley Jones now starting to heat up with the slash to the basket.
Back-to-back baskets for Jones. Ryan about to come back for Drake as Collier, the left-hander. Transfer from the University of Washington. Puts it up. Jones there for the rebound. Ray Johnson will try a 3-ball.
Now this is kind of what we thought we'd start seeing the 3-ball start raining on both ends of the court.
Wise in the way of Hittner to pick up the foul, and Wise with her 3rd foul.
A tempo game for the Bulldogs. They push the ball up the side of the floor, and Hittner filled the lane. Iowa State able to get Johnson open from the 3-point line and knock it down, and that's just what Iowa State needed to try to get them going. They have not knocked a lot of those threes in the bucket.
And they're going to need them as they try to overcome a double-digit deficit.
And you know you're always in a ball game when you have as many shooters as both of these teams do. If you get down by double digits, you are able to dig yourself out of a hole if you can get hot from distance.
Hittner with 11 points, got 20 against the Cyclones last season in Ames. Jones, Espinmiller, McGraw, Nezaquav, Johnson on the court for Iowa State. And also there is Thurman, who fires from the left corner. Nezaquav tipped it over to Jones, and Jones puts it in. It's in a row for Ashley Jones.
That's the kind of player that she is. They can get her going. She can get hot.
Thurman went for the steal. Collier took it away from her and scored.
Tried to use it, and Collier made her pay for it.
Thurman and Collier, quick against quick.
It is fun to watch, and they are challenging each other.
Johnson tries to use the screen of Jones, tries to get around her, and Drake guilty of the foul. Collier commits her 3rd. So Collier's got 3 fouls, and Rose has got 3 fouls for Iowa State, or excuse me, for Drake, and Madison Wise 3 for the.
Collier knew it right away. And there's where the quick on quick right there. Collier able to get that ball and get that little mid-range jumper to go.
Bear commits the foul as the pass went inside to Inez Nezaquav, and Nezaquav tried to get up there, but Bear was holding her down to the line. What a great story Nezaquav is from the war-torn country of Burundi in East Africa. Really had to battle the paperwork just to get out of that country and had to go through, escape a civil war. Came to this country, went to Jacksonville Community College, was an All-American in junior college, and then a lot of schools were interested in her on the Division I level, but there was a mountain the NCAA requires for foreign students. Some of them backed away. Bill Fenley and his staff stayed with it, and they are glad they did. And by the way, she was granted an extra year of eligibility.
Yeah, she certainly has been a world traveler all over the country, able to land at Iowa State and get an extra year of eligibility.
Ryan gets called for the foul. Jenny Baranchek stands up, hands on hips, didn't away.
Well, a lot of hands going after that rebound, and they're saying that Sarah Ryan reached over the top. That puts Jones to the free throw line. That is her third for Sarah Ryan.
So the Bulldogs now 3 starters with 3 fouls. Jones, who's heating up after just 2 in the first half, 9 more here in the third quarter. Knocks down both free throws.
She's a scorer, and she will find ways to score. Even if a team has shut her down, they will certainly try to get her the ball, and she is going to be able to create.
Ray Johnson guarding Maddie Monahan too closely, and again, that's the matchup of former AAU teammates in this.
Yeah, they know each other's game very well. Teammates, now opponents.
Hittner for 3. Baron Nezaquah battle for the rebound. Bear gets the foul, and that'll be her third. So Collier, Rose, Bear, and Ryan, 3 fouls each for the Bulldogs. For Iowa State, really only Wise, the one that they would be concerned about with 3 fouls, and Nezaquah right back to the line. Speaks 7 different foreign languages, and she has her 7th point. So Iowa State, after being down by 14, scraps their way back into it, and they are now down by 8 as the free throw skims out and into the hands of final minute, third quarter. Brenny Rose takes a 3. Rebound tip from Nezaquah over to Jones, and is Camber. 11 seconds differential, shot clock and third quarter clock.
Boy, Nezaquah has been calling for the basketball the entire time they've had it in their possession. She got it. Maggie Bear right there to block it.
Bear playing just her 2nd college game and becoming a big factor, especially with Rose and foul problems. She will leave in favor of Burrich.
See Nezaquah get down low, get good, receive the ball, and again they go right back into her. And Jones going to pick up a foul.
Hittner grabs the rebound, and Jones gets her 3rd foul. So when we go to the 4th, both coaches have to be concerned about depth and about fouls.
Yeah, this is physical, and you expected that. Iowa State now showing a little 3-quarter court pressure, a 1-2-2, and the Bulldogs able to break it. Looking for a last-second shot here to end the third quarter.
Drake with the basket would go to a double-digit lead entering the 4th. Right now an 8-point margin. Hittner with 4 seconds. Ball deflected, and the Bulldogs will play it with a little less than a second. 0.9 on the clock.
Going to see a lot of screen set. It's going to be a catch and release. They might even try to lob it towards the rim. See if they can get a tip in.
Collier has it intercepted by Johnson. And after 3, it's Bulldogs were 9 of 16, 56%. So we start the 4th quarter of this 59th matchup between the Cyclones and Bulldogs with Drake up by 8. Shot by Hittner, and the rebound is taken down by Maggie Espen-Miller-McGraw.
Came right out of that timeout. They set a stagger screen for Hittner to get her open. They did. She just did not get enough on that shot to get it to go.
Maddie Wise fires. Rebound by Jones underneath. Jones not really challenged for the rebound, and she has 12 second-half points, 14 for the game. Ryan calls for it, and over the top to commit the foul is Kristen Scott.
Let's take a look at Ashley Jones and what she can do. We know that she can do a good job. Last time she did a great job of getting on the boards and getting the putback. And Iowa State now playing some good defense on their end.
Scott slides over, blocks the Monahan shot. And Drake, quick hitter on the inbound. Monahan now with a dozen points, 1 shy of her career high. Jenny Baranchuk asked her to be more offensive-minded. She has been today. Hittner tips it away on the pass for Scott. Allie Woolridge and freshman Sarah Beth Geldner from Olathe, Kansas, come into the Bulldog attack. Ray Johnson finds Kristen Scott.
They were able to spread the floor that time. Kristen Scott comes right down the side of the lane, wide open for an easy bucket.
Geldner, whose dad played at the University of Kansas. Woolridge misfires. The rebound comes right back to Geldner, and the Bulldogs get a fresh... No, they don't get a fresh shot clock anymore because of the new rules. The 20-second reset now. Hittner misses on the floater, misses on the follow, and Iowa State comes out with it, and it cut the 6-point margin. This would be the closest they have been since the very start of the third quarter. It was a 5-point game at halftime. Espen Miller-McGraw with the miss. The rebound comes to Woolridge. Ryan calling for it. Ran the floor well. Couldn't finish the first time, but does the second time. They always run the floor well, and she did.
And Iowa State kind of forgot about her. She snuck by everybody. Iowa State.
Betting options available at your local sportsbook. Inside the Numbers, Thursday and Friday nights on MC22. Cyclones inbound. They have been down by as many as 17 in the second half. Back to within 8. Thurman came in at the timeout. She handles the basketball. Gets it on the baseline to Scott. Scott gets the bounce.
In that short corner and in traffic, shoots a fadeaway. Gets the friendly roll off the rim to get the Cyclones 2 points.
Geldner, Woolridge, Hittner, Ryan on the court for the Bulldogs along with Collier. And Drake called for the violation.
Woolridge is going to pick up the foul. I think they're going to get her with an illegal screen up. Little dribble penetration. Thurman dishes it out to Scott. Sarah Ryan in her face, and she was able to knock it in.
Cyclones, big opportunity for them to cut the Bulldogs' 6-point lead. Scott will take a 3 from the corner and drill it. Kristen Scott, in limited playing time, has been a big factor for Iowa State. The Bulldogs' lead sliced to 3.
Well, you had mentioned it, and when we talked to Coach Finley, he said she is a player that we need to have on the floor. She's somebody that can score for us inside and out.
They use her sparingly because of the back spasms that she has suffered, but she has made the most of her minutes on the floor. Shot clock is down to 5. Collier penetrates and scores. With the shot clock down to 3, Kiera Collier comes up with a big Drake basket. This game as a Bulldog, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds. Also has an assist and a couple of steals.
Yeah, she certainly has had an impact on this game and coming in and making something happen.
Good look inside for Wise. Madison Wise with the bucket, and the Cyclones back to within 3.
Bulldogs extend that defense, and the Cyclones able to exploit it.
Collier got the roll last time, didn't get the roll this time by Kristen Scott. Thurman quickly down the floor. Open look. Scott, she's red hot, but not this time. Ryan running down the rebound. Just under 6 minutes in regulation. Geldner to the baseline. Challenged by Scott. Scott a piece of that one as it went off the side of the backboard.
Yeah, somebody got a piece of it as Geldner takes it into the long arms of the Cyclone defense.
Cyclones go into the long arms and she scores again. And she has scored 9 points in the fourth quarter alone to make it a 1-point game. Collier with an answer.
Dribble penetration. Monahan this time, point guard, gets the dribble penetration, kicks it out to Collier in the corner.
After an 0 for 3 shooting night from behind the line against South Dakota State, the first 3 of the career of Kiera Collier. Jones inside and trying to flag it away from her is Burrich. She gets the foul.
Burrich trying to work on the high side and picks up the end. Dribble penetration. You can see how the defense collapses around Monahan, and she kicks it out to Collier.
Johnson, nothing going inside, comes outside to Jade Thurman. Watched by Fuller on the Bulldog zone defense. 10 seconds for the Cyclones to shoot. Jones tries to get around Burrich, and Burrich commits the foul. That'll be the third team foul in the quarter against Drake compared to 1 against Iowa State.
You know, and that's where able to make up some ground. Burrich just dips those arms and gets Jones across. That's where Iowa State was able to make up ground in the third quarter. They were able to get to the free throw line.
Nezaquah replaces Scott in the Cyclone lineup as Ashley Jones hits her 15th point. Averaged 12 last year, got 23 against Southern, which led the Cyclones in scoring. And after scoring just 2 half, she has scored 16 for the ball game, and once again, it's a 2-point game. Hannah Fuller shoots for the first time and knocks down the 3.
We were talking to Coach Baranczyk this morning, and she said Hannah Fuller needs to look for that shot. She's a good shooter from out there, and she was able to prove her coach right.
Wise tries for the dunk. Cyclones knock it out of bounds.
Just the rotation, a little slow to come out and defend, and Fuller knocks a big shot down for the Bulldogs.
Became the 7th Bulldog as Hittner gets called for the foul. Hittner trying to go inside, and Wise got up in her face, and Hittner fouled her, and Hittner has committed her first foul. But you start looking at bonus situations, and Drake already with their 4th foul with still 4:17 to play. Meanwhile, Iowa State with just 1 here in the quarter.
And you have to believe if they get Drake to pick up that 5th foul, they're going to continue to pound it right at them and try to draw more fouls on the Bulldogs to get to the free throw line.
Hittner tries to slap it away from behind. Jones goes to the floor trying to get it back along with Burrich.
Baseline drive of Jones. Hittner again from behind, tries to poke it away. And then the scramble for the loose ball.
Cyclones keep it on the alternating possession. Drake, what a schedule to begin the year against South Dakota State in the opener, Iowa State today, and then South Dakota on Wednesday on the road. 3 teams that will be in the national picture as they were last year with NCAA appearances. Of course, the Cyclones had their NCAA run ended in the 2nd round by Missouri State.
Missouri State pulled the big upset. That was up at Hilton Coliseum, and Missouri State, representative of the Missouri Valley Conference, able to make some noise last year in the NCAA tournament.
Johnson unable to finish it, and the rebound comes back to the Bulldogs. Rhine. And then an offensive foul called on Drake.
And I think, again, it's going to be on Hittner. I couldn't see who was making the cut, but what Iowa State is doing in front of the cutters and holding their ground.
It was against Hittner. It's her 2nd foul, so she will leave the lineup, and Burrich comes in to take her place.
They're anticipating the cut of the Bulldogs and beating them to that spot. So the Bulldogs are going to have to make some adjustments.
Johnson, Jones, Thurman on the court for Iowa State. Also there's Scott, who was out very briefly, but she came back in. And blocking foul called against Collier. So Collier now with her 4th foul.
Collier trying to slide with Wise as she makes her move. And the official said she did not get into position.
A 90% free throw shooter a year ago, Madison Wise missed her first 2 free throws this afternoon. Junior from Greenfield, Indiana. 3rd-year starter for Bill Fenley's group. And she hits both free throws there. 2-point game at 76-74. Excuse me, 76-73, a 3-point game.
Iowa State going to the free throw line from this point on.
Rose Ryan fouled by Scott. Kristen Scott with her second foul. That's just the second team foul on the Cyclones here in the period.
Ryan sets up low. Rose with the pass in with the wraparound reach.
Hittner fields the inbounds and she gets fouled immediately. Jade Thurman with the foul. That's number 3 on I. 3:13 to go. Rose looking for Ryan. Pass just a little bit behind her. Couldn't hang on. Turnover gives it to the Cyclones.
There was a backdoor cut, and Brenny Rose had a little zip to that pass. Not haul it in.
12th turnover for Drake this afternoon. Iowa State has turned it over 9 times. Into the final 3 minutes of regulation. Wise trying to get around Hittner. Fuller flashes out on her. Jones in the lane looking for somewhere to go. Spins and scores. She is a terror in the paint. She's got 18 points.
Just has good body control when she gets in there, makes the move. Nice soft touch over the rim.
Ryan on the pass from Rose. Big assist. Rose and Ryan connects on her 21st point.
That's what they tried to run the last time they had the ball, and this time Brenny Rose makes a pinpoint pass.
Possession arrow favors Drake. Drake 3 timeouts left. Iowa State with 2. Thurman shovels for Scott. Scott doesn't get the roll and has the rebound. That is her 9th rebound to go along with 21 points. Rose for 3.
Those are shots where you think, hold it, work the clock a little bit, but they had the numbers, and Brenny Rose comes down, knocks down a huge 3.
Brenny Rose.
Some noise with a nice pass and a nice assist, and then hits a huge 3-pointer.
Thurman, Jones, Johnson, Scott, and Wise on the court for Iowa State. Losing the basketball, Jones trying to hang on to it is Scott, but she can't do it, and Drake will have the ball with Monahan, Rose, Hittner, Collier, and Ryan in their lineup.
Actually, I think that's a Drake going to take a little air out of the ball now as they have the 6-point lead.
Drake with their starters on the court. Shot clock at 10. Backdoor cut for Ryan.
Which you want to milk the clock down as far as you can and then get a high percentage shot. Now Iowa State's going to have to score quickly, try to look for a 3-point shot.
Wise pitches it out in the corner for Scott, and she's been red hot here in the second half. Knocks down a 3 to make basketball. Final minute of play. Drake with a 5-point lead. Bulldogs not yet in the bonus situation. Drake again burning time. Shot clock down to 15. Collier kicks for Hittner. Hittner drives the lane with 8 seconds on the shot clock to score.
Yeah, Coach Fenley was out asking them to come up and make a foul, and nobody did at that point. And now they're relying on Kristen Scott to knock down. They want to put some pressure on, and now you have to get up and foul.
Cyclones without a timeout. Scott with the foul, sending Hittner to the line.
And still, Bulldogs 1 free throw away from being in the bonus, so they're going to have to foul quick. Back, a little pass back to Scott, who knocks down a big 3-pointer to get the Cyclones to within 4.
Scott with 15 fourth-quarter points.
That tells you how dominant she can be.
Monahan fouled immediately. Johnson with a foul, and that's the 4th against Iowa State, so Drake not in the bonus to the next one, so another quick Cyclone foul will come.
Yeah, I thought they had 4 up on the board before that. I do think that's the 5th team foul.
Yeah. Well, they still have 4, but
board operator
still
a
have
little
number
slow.
4, but it is number 5. There we go. Monahan to the line for 2. A 74% free throw shooter, 2 this afternoon. Equals a career high with her 13th point. Monahan looking for a career best. Scott Johnson racing up the floor. Cyclones trying to get a shot away. Thurman's going to take it at the buzzer. It wouldn't have counted anyway. The final score, Drake 86 and Iowa State 81.